Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how to read your first Arduino program. Arduinos can be a bit confusing, and they definitely were a few years ago when I first started using them for my undergrad that I got. They're really hard at first because you don't have the engineering basics, programming and electrical basics. I majored in electrical engineering. And we actually had a few courses where we just did Arduinos. We focused on Arduinos, so I got to learn a lot, and I use them to this day, even for work. So let me show you guys how to read the first program you're ever going to use. And let me know if I'm going too fast for future videos, but this is it. The Arduino, if you go to File, Examples, they have a lot of built-in examples that you can use to learn how to use certain sensors, how to just use the Arduino in general. These are a little bit more advanced over here, so we won't be touching those today. But I think that the best way to teach the Arduino, which I've taught before, is to go to basics, and you see maybe 6 here, right? You read analog voltage, fade, digital read serial, blink, bare minimum, and analog read serial. Today I'm going to show you how to read blink. I believe that if you fully understand how to read one, you'll understand how to read all of them. So let's get started. Let me add some spaces at the bottom. And just for reference, whenever you see a / here and a star, you have to accompany it with an ending one. That means that everything inside these two is a comment, so it's text that the program does not read. So you can write whatever you want here, right? I can write da 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 da. Doesn't matter. The second I remove this, now the whole thing becomes a text. So there's really no code on my program. So I have to end it, and you see how the color comes back? Because now this is not text, this is actual code, whereas this is, text or a comment. You can also do inline comments like this, meaning that if you do 2 /, only whatever's on this line becomes a comment. But the second that I do it, somewhere else, it becomes code. Like if I press start and I do this, that's code, right? That's code, but not this over here. So with that being said, let's get started on the blink function. So first we start off with the void setup. So this void setup function, this is where we, read you this. Initialize digital pin. So LED built in as an output. So LED built in is a pin. It's equivalent to pin 13, but don't worry about that. There is an LED on the Arduino. So whenever you get an Arduino, there's a little LED that just blinks, or it's meant to just be used for you that's feedback, right? And it's already in the Arduino, so you don't have to buy any other sensors, any other LEDs. It's just on the board itself. And we want to blink that Arduino. We want to make that LED blink, okay? So this is the function that we use to initialize, to tell the Arduino, hey, we're focusing only on this right now, okay? So listen to me. This is what you're telling the Arduino. You say, Arduino, I want to use a function pin mode. Pin mode is a function that sets a mode to a certain pin. That's why it's called pin mode. And you have to make sure that this is lowercase and this is capitalized, because the Arduino does care about that. So you say pin mode, and I need 2 inputs, 2 parameters. The first one is going to be, what the Arduino knows the pin or the LED you're going to use, what it knows it as, right? So the Arduino says, I know that LED built in is a LED that I have on my board. So you're telling it, hey, use this. We're focusing on this one right now, okay? And the Arduino says, okay, what do you want me to do with this? Do you want me to make it as treat it as an input or an output? So it's an LED. So we want it to be an output. We control whether it flashes or it doesn't. So we say, turn that LED that's built into you as an output. Okay, I want to output. I want to use it as some kind of feedback. And you say, okay. So now that's all you really need in this void setup function. So void setup was used to say, hey, we're focusing on this LED that's built in, and we want it to be used as an output, right? So we're going to output signals to it. We're not going to read from it because we can't read it from, an LED is not a sensor. It's not a temperature sensor. It's not a thermometer, right? It's not a moisture sensor. It doesn't take input. All it does is it's an output. It's a way for us to know what's going on. So it has to be used as an output. Then we go to the meat of the code, which is the void loop function. And if you read this, it says, the loop function runs over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, forever. So this is what we put in the code, that we want to run. So we start off by doing this. Digital write. So we say, we're going to write to this LED, which is controlled by a digital function. We're going to digitally write to what? To LED built in. We already said it's going to be an output, so we're fine. So we're going to write to an output, and let's say it's high. So that means that this first line of code, what it's doing is it's writing to the built-in LED and saying that it's going to be a high. And the notes say the same thing. Turn the LED on. High is the voltage level. So by you telling the Arduino, you know what we call the LED built in as an output? I want that output now to be high. So what does high mean in the Arduino world? That means that the LED is going to turn on. Okay, so for this first line of code, you turn the LED on. And if you were to not have anything here, let me delete this just for reference. If you were to not have anything here, the LED would always be on, right? You would not turn it off ever. Okay? So now the second line of code says delay 1000 milliseconds. So this function here, delay, basically says keep this that we just did, the LED in high mode, for 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. Okay, so I'll just add it here. 1 second. And that's it. So you're going to leave the LED on for 1 second. Okay. But that's not exciting, right? Leaving it on for 1 second, it's going to repeat. If we don't have this other stuff here, it's going to repeat and still be on, so it doesn't matter. So we must change it to make it exciting. So now we say, hey, digitally write to the LED that's built in, the same one we've been referencing. But now instead of making it high, make it low. Okay? So now this went from being high, the LED is on. You waited 1 second, so it's on for 1 second. The second that this second is over, it's now low. So even the notes say here, turn the LED off by making the voltage low. So now you applied 0 volts to this LED, so now it's off. And now that it's off, you wait 1 second again. So now it goes on for 1 second, off for 1 second, and then after this is over, it repeats. So after this 1 second delay, it goes back to the top, and it goes on for 1 second, off for 1 second. So it goes on for 1 second, then it goes off for 1 second, then it goes again on for 1 second, and that's it. That's why this function is called blink, because you have an LED that's on the Arduino board that you're making blink. Right now, if I wanted to make this be on for 1 second but off for 2 seconds, then I do this. So now the way it's gonna look is like this. We go on for 1 second, off for 2 seconds, on for 1 second, off for 2 seconds. You see that? Or I can make it blink faster. I can do half a second, which is 500 milliseconds. So now it's gonna go on for half a second, off half a second, on half a second, off half a second. And that's basically it. So I hope you understood a little bit more of what the blink function does. And I will be continuing to do more of the built-in functions and some custom functions. I think the next project I'm going to do is Arduino, since I'm working on my backyard. But I hope you guys learned a little bit. I'll see you guys on the next videos. Bye.